Well, hello, my beautiful Pisces. How are you, my gorgeous ones? Thank you so very much for having patience with me. So I apologize. The video where you see me is going to lag. So what I'm saying, and I talk a lot with my hands, is not going to match what you're hearing. I'm on travel, and I apologize. But we're going to do what we can. So, my gorgeous ones, it's October 16th. I'm going to let you guys know what's been going on, what's going to be going on till the end of the month. Then we'll pull some cards. I have been talking a lot to everyone about Pluto, and that's because Pluto went direct at the beginning of the month. So I'm going to give you a little indication about where you've been with Pluto, what's going on, and ultimately what you're going to learn in this. And then we'll talk a little bit about Venus and then the full moon, which I did do a full moon video. If you want to see that, I'll have that at the end of this video. So welcome everyone. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Cindy. I am the modern day spiritual advisor. I use multiple modalities, including astrology, tarot, mediumship, all kinds of stuff to help you on your path. So my beautiful souls, my gorgeous wise ones, Pluto. Let's talk about Pluto. Pluto went direct. It had gone to retrograde in April, and it went direct at the beginning of October. So Pluto is this subconscious underlying evolvement that you're going to do in this life, right? And so even though it's generational stuff, it is personal to you as well, okay? So where it is in your chart, your birth chart, is where you leave your legacy, or potentially where you could leave your legacy, right? So depending on if you work it or not, it kind of depends on you, right? And so what's really interesting is that where it's transiting, and it takes a long time to transit. It started in 2008. It won't finish till 2023. But where it's transiting is in this house of groups, right? Interestingly enough, because Pluto is about power struggle. Pluto likes to take things away. That's the way Pluto teaches. It takes things away so that you understand your power, you take back your power, and that you understand that you are enough, that you matter. And that's, even though you kind of understand this as a Pisces because you know the one, like I told you guys in this full moon video that I did for Taurus, you know, Pisces knows they are the universe. Like Aquarians can get it from the mental perspective and understand it, but Pisces actually is in it and knows it, like is aware of it, knows it, right? So that's different to actually know it, knowing that we all are one, we all are together, even though we have these bodies and this life. It's really hard to ground that, right? And be self-identifying. Make sense? Because that's what Pluto is going to teach you. It's in this house of groups. So what it's going to teach you, and it will do so by taking it away, is that it will teach you of who you are, where you are in relation to society, in relation to groups, in relation to your community. That's what it's trying to help you understand. It's trying to help you understand your self-identity, your identity here, and how it relates to groups, and how it relates to society, how you relate to society, how you relate to groups, right? And so what will happen throughout this from 2008 to 2023 is that eventually you will have the courage, because you'll become stagnant in these groups, right? Pluto likes to take things away, or the groups will be taken away from your society. Like you have an opinion, but you won't say it until you're courageous enough to step into your own identity, which is going to be a new pioneering identity. So many of you, because you're old wise souls, it's very late here, I'm sorry. Because you're an old wise soul, you've come here to do it differently than others. And because of that, you're very pioneering in that way. And because of that, there is no path already laid out. You're making the path to that. Does that make sense? So you have to understand who you are And then with you, who you are, other people will resonate with you, and you move from there. That makes sense? So I'll go deeper into Pluto when I do the Pluto series. I'm going to do the Pluto series, the Venus retrograde series, but first I'm going to do you guys, and then I've got to do November's, okay? So by the end of the week, I should probably start the Venus series or the Pluto series. So my gorgeous ones, that's what's been happening. You probably thought you kind of had it figured out by now, like you've gotten some courage to do what you wanted to do, maybe understood yourself in relation to groups, to society, how you really identify, where you kind of are with that. And then by 2018, this year it was about you being in the group and practicing in the group and seeing in your community, right? So 2018 is about you being in community and sort of seeing where you are and understanding what you're about and how it differs from even in the group who you are. Does that make sense? And so 2018 has that coming about, but 2019 is something different, and I'll go over that in the Pluto series. So that's what's going on in the retrograde. You probably had to adjust, amend. Maybe you came up some situations where you had to speak your own truth, and it was necessary for you to speak your own truth. Maybe you were actually cornered into, like, if you don't say what you really need to say, this group is going to be taken away, right? Or you're going to be ousted in some way. Like, that could have been going on in 2018, this 2018. 2019 is going to be a very different thing, but this is all about you identifying you, right? And so now we're going to move into, so by the retrograde, you were adjusting and amending and revising and trying to rework this with you in society or in a community or in the groups. Maybe it was even groups and internet, because this house is the internet, right? You've also had Saturn in there, who just recently went direct, and you've had to work really, really hard in this. You've had delays. You've had people maybe even open enemies. Like, yeah, there's been a lot going on in this house for you. So now that went direct, so you kind of got a handle on it. And now we have Venus that's retrograde as well. So Venus is retrograding in your, I'm sorry, I wrote it down, but 12, 11, 10, 9. So Venus is retrograding in your house of belief system, in your house of higher education, in your house of maybe even long distance travel or foreign people. I feel like a lot of you have been dealing with foreign people. So, and I feel like maybe I keep feeling that some influential people are going to come in. So with this Venus retrograde, this won't actually clear up this won't complete until December. It'll start clearing up in November. Like, you'll get an indication of where this is going to go, but it won't complete until December 17th. So this has to do with Venus retrograding. Venus is about love. Venus is about relationships. Venus is about finances. Venus is about luck. Venus is about beauty. And so in this house, maybe you're getting a greater understanding, or maybe you're dealing with a foreign people or foreign lands. Maybe you could be dealing with higher education. But whatever this is, because it's retrograde, you're having to amend, adjust, revise, right? Well, from today, and it started yesterday, throughout the week, if you look here, Venus is here in this house of higher education, in your belief system. It's got Mercury that it's conjunct, which means it's having a conversation with Mercury. It's working with Mercury. But this is like self-reflecting. So there's a message in here coming to you, but it's squared Mars. Mars is in your 12th house. So there could be some completing going on. There could be some sort of action being taken, but it may feel uncomfortable because of the square, okay? And so because of where Mercury is, you could, because of where Mercury and Venus are, you could be having a conversation, or somebody offends you, or you offend someone else, but I don't really feel that much with you guys. I feel like this is a lot of introspection for you, and I feel like this is about you telling your truth, but because Mars is here, I feel like you don't want to be outspoken and crude about it, but I'm telling you, with me feeling this Mars here, I feel like maybe in your last life you didn't get to, and maybe in this life you have to. I feel that with you guys. So this is not for everybody, but I am feeling like the bigger energy is this. Like, it's important for you. Again, I'm seeing where we are all one. I understand, like, you understand you are the universe, but it's imperative that you understand that you have an identity here, and you matter here, and your opinion matters here, and what you say matters here. And so that's more about the grounding. And with this Mars here, I feel like it's necessary for you to be able to complete this, to be able to, yeah, complete this. I'm just seeing a lot of stuff with you guys, so let me try to stay on track. So, tomorrow, so you could have somebody offend you, or maybe you offend somebody unnecessarily. No, not unnecessarily. I'm seeing if you offend someone, you have to learn to be true to yourself. That's what I'm seeing. And maybe it's because you don't have practice saying what you really mean, or yeah, that you need practice in it. And so this is what this Mars is doing. So tomorrow, 17th, 18th, 19th, you have this trine going on with Mercury and Venus, right? So even though you have this square with Mars, which is going to feel really uncomfortable because you don't like to make other people uncomfortable. So you would rather just let things go instead of actually putting your foot down or saying what you really need to say. With this Mars is about me, and Neptune is about we. Neptune is your ruling planet, right? And so Neptune is about we. So with this trine, there's an opportunity in being able to convey this message, or being able to take the higher perspective, which you don't have a problem with. You just have to remember, you have to remember that your truth matters, that your opinion matters. And so I feel like if you balance this, if you are in any way, if somebody comes up, like I'm feeling this opposite of what I've been telling everybody else. I'm feeling like with you guys, somebody may always come to you and be abrupt and not, and be sort of overbearing. And I'm feeling like with this Mars, you need to say, no, I'm not going to be treated like this. No, you're not going to do this to me. No, I'm not going to be taking that from you. No, you're not going to like go over my boundaries anymore. That's what I'm feeling with you guys. And so I'm feeling like with Neptune retrograde and this squared Mars, this Venus Mercury squared Mars, I feel like there's a balance in that where you can say it, like Saturn would say it, with authority, but not so much like aggression. That makes sense? Like, just be authoritative about it. And you don't have to explain everything. You just be authoritative about it. Does that make sense? That's what I'm getting for you guys. Yeah. So that should be going on through the end of the week. Again, this has to do with either foreign people or higher education. Like maybe some of you are trying to get into a college or a university, and you really have to go say something. You really have to go say that you want this, and you really have to like put your foot down. And maybe they're like delaying stuff, and they're, and you're like, oh okay. But maybe you have to go and say, no, I've done this 3 times. I'm not going to do this again. Find it. Like maybe you have to go do that. Like I'm seeing that too. Or maybe it's this foreign person, or maybe it's this these groups on the internet that you're dealing with too. So I'm feeling like you got to put your boundary in there. A boundary is what's needed, and you can do it gracefully. You, of all people, Pisces, are beautiful, graceful people. So I feel like you can do this. You just have to put a boundary in there. Make sense? Okay. So then we're going to move on to, so that again won't clear up until December. You're going to get a message, and there's going to be some processing, but you've got this square going on, which is tension, right? But remember, it's like the pressure of a diamond. When coal is pressured, it becomes a diamond, right? So something great can come out of this for you. So then we have on the 24th, excuse me, 23rd, 24th, depending on where you live in the world, we have this full moon in Taurus. I did the video on Taurus Full Moon. I just released it today earlier. And so this is going to be happening in your house of either neighbors, siblings, co-workers, administration, media, marketing. Administration, media, marketing, and communication, right? So that's this house. But this house has Taurus in it, which means there's money involved. There could be money involved. So maybe you get the position. Maybe you're just starting a new position. Or you could be dealing with a neighbor. You could be dealing with your siblings. So with this full moon, and then you have the sun over here. So the sun is going to be talking to Venus. So there's some clarity going on by the 24th, having to do with what's been going on with this Venus. And I feel like some of you need to say, like some of you actually need to say, you know what, I've worked here for 10 years and I haven't had a raise in 5 years and I need a raise. Like you're trying to figure out how to do that, some of you. And so maybe that's what this Venus is for you. Having to do, if you do administration, if you do marketing, if you do any type of communication, or maybe your siblings owe you some money, or maybe a neighbor owes you some money, but you just kind of let it go, but you really, really could use the money. And so Venus is going to be talking to the sun here, while Uranus is talking to the moon here, and they're in opposition, and that's what this full moon's about. This full moon, Uranus is going to shift something here to help you, to help liberate you, to help you feel better, right? It's talking to the full moon, so the full moon is going to illuminate something for you to help you clear this. It's going to help you see something that you hadn't seen, a way, right? And this is all to make you feel safe, comfortable, secure, and have luxury around you. You're Pisces, you love luxury around you, right? So, but the sun is talking to Venus, and so this could have to do with money, and even a love relationship, because it's Venus, right? And so maybe if you have this relationship, something's going to get cleared up so that you can see the way, so that you can make the choice and put a boundary in there. That's what I'm feeling for you guys. And so that's that's going to be happening on the 24th. You'll feel the effects for a couple of weeks. You want to watch that video because it explains more. And then by the 29th, 30th, and 31st of October, you have this Grand Trine. And you're going to feel it the most because it's because it's a Water Grand Trine. So you, Scorpio, and Cancer are going to feel it the most. And so you guys know a Grand Trine is a divinely guided gift to me being brought to you. This will be felt to fulfill you on an emotional level, right? And so it's in your house with Chiron. It's in this 9th house with Jupiter and Mercury, and it's the moon in Cancer, right? So this has to do with the message being brought to you of this house. Maybe it's the law. Maybe it's a long distance travel. Maybe it's something that you're trying to, it could be that, because that's this house as well. But Jupiter is now going to be gifting you, now that it's over the 23rd degree. It's been gifting you. It's going to continue to gift you with the things that you've worked through, right? Putting your boundaries down, saying what you want, identifying who you are, making a new way for yourself. So Mercury here means there's a message coming. This message can be felt to help you feel better, to help fulfill that need to feel better, right? But this house where the moon's at is going to be in your 3rd, 4th, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th. 3rd, 4th, 5th. Yeah, sorry. So this is Cancer in your 5th house. So there's something that you're trying to create, or having to do with something you've created, having to do with something that came from your heart. It could have to do with your children because it is the 5th house. But Chiron is in your 1st house. So this old wound of I've been in this position before. Why do I keep getting in this position? How am I supposed to resolve this? This keeps happening to me. Like, that's Chiron. And if you haven't watched my Chiron video, I'll put it down in the description box below. But there is a gift being brought to you, right? There are these squares going on. So Venus is squaring that north node in your 6th house of daily activity. And it's also, yeah, so something is going to change here. And then the north node is squaring Uranus, right? So there's this tension here going on. So, but you have this opportunity to feel better, to resolve this. And for you guys, I feel like there's a boundary that needs to be put down. There's like something that you really need to say. And you're trying to figure out how to say it, or you're trying not to let yourself do that. I'm not going to say anything because I know the higher perspective, because, you know, because I'm wiser, because, you know, you're giving yourself excuses. That's what I'm seeing. All right. So that's going to end out the month. Now, I did shuffle your cards before, but we'll shuffle them one more time, and then I'll cut them. Yeah, I kind of think sometimes when I shuffle. It helps me get into that space. Okay, so what is going on right now with Pisces? What did they need to know? Yep, you have the Hanging Man. See, like there's a choice. I feel like you're self-sacrificing. I feel like you'd rather not say anything, and you really need to say something because you're important, because you matter, because this whole thing matters. Like, it's where you wanting to go. It's what you're wanting to understand that, yeah, I'm just feeling like even though we're all one, even though you're very, very wise, you still have this lifetime and this view and this perception and this, yeah, this thing that your voice, the way that you communicate with the world, the way that you engage, like, you matter. And so I feel like you're self-sacrificing. You're not wanting to make waves, or you're not wanting to upset everybody, or you're not wanting to, like, yeah, and I'm feeling like some of you, it could even be like that job that I'm saying, like, I've had this career for a long time and they haven't given me a raise, or I keep getting missed over for the position, or, and they're like, well, that's okay, it'll come next year. Or you're like, well, that's okay, that person really did want it more. Or that's okay, that person really did work hard. Or that's okay, like you keep saying that, and it could be in a relationship too where you're self-sacrificing. If you look at the Hanging Man, this is not about them being hung by somebody else. This is about them hanging themselves, because they can get out of this position anytime. They just have to stop self-sacrificing. Like, they have to put their foot down. They have to say what they want. They have to not allow people to go over their boundaries. That's what I'm getting. All right. So what's Spirit's advice? So I have the Four of Swords. So I do feel like many of you are tired, because I feel like this Chiron is in there and Neptune's in there and it's retrograde, and you're like, I don't know, I find myself in this position and it's the same thing and I don't know what to do and how can I change this. And so their advice is, yeah, their advice is, if you feel, if you've done everything that you can in this situation, yeah, this is really weird because now they're showing me that other part. Okay, so I'm feeling like in certain situations, like, you're trying to make something happen that doesn't need to happen. And then where something needs to happen, that's where you're doing the Hanging Man thing. And so, because I was just asking him, I don't understand the resting part. And so then they're showing me, like, you're energetically, some of you, trying to, like, make something happen. Like, maybe it's a twin flame thing, or maybe it's I don't know what this is, but you're trying to make something happen that your higher self is like, you're needing to go in a different way. And so But the thing that you do need to stand for, and the thing that you do need to say, and the thing that you do need to put a boundary down, you're not doing it. And so they're saying, if you tried and tried and tried in a situation and it's not working, back off. Back off, redirect your attention, let it rest. You can pick it up later, but let it rest. That's their advice. They're wanting you to change directions. They're wanting you to change focus. Not change direction. You don't have to do anything yet, except for whatever this is you're trying to make happen, back off of it and let the universe do their job. And then focus on something else. Focus on what you need to say. Focus on putting your boundary down. Focus on that. Focus on how you're going to communicate that to the world, or to your lover, or to your family, or to your friends, or to somebody that's gone and crossed your boundaries. Like, focus on that, right? So that's their advice. And then where are we headed? So then you have the Death card by the end. So I do see transformation. I do see ending something. I know some of you didn't want to end something. I know some of you have been holding on to something, and maybe you're not even holding on to them physically, but maybe energetically and in your mind and in your heart, and you're just like mulling over this. But I feel like for some of you, there's an actual like letting go of somebody physically, like they got to go. And then others of you, I feel like there's this understanding where, okay, I'm going to let that go. And I feel like when that happens, there's this transformation. There's this ending of an old and beginning of a new. I feel like that with the Death card. And so by the end of the month, I feel like it has to do with this Grand Trine, because they just showed me the Grand Trine. There's something coming with the message that's going to help you release and going to help you put a boundary in. That's what I'm seeing. Okay. So my gorgeous ones, I hope this helps. I love you, love you, love you. Thank you so very much for watching me. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And I will talk to you soon. Bye.